What's going on, guys? It's Eric Turner from Cover1.net. I want to do something a little different for our Week 6 matchup with the 49ers. There's a lot of hoopla going on this week because Colin Kaepernick is now the starting quarterback of the team. So the scouting didn't really change too much. Their offense with Chip Kelly is a very simple offense, and the concepts don't really change with Kaepernick at the helm. It does make their offense a little more explosive, and that's a big unknown. So we'll get into their statistics first and see where they rank offensively first. Their offense is currently ranked as the 31st ranked offense. They only put up about 170 passing yards a game, but they are a top 10 rushing offense, and that's kind of Chip Kelly's MO. Everything is based off of the run, and specifically the zone read, which we'll get into later. They average about 22.2 points a game, and of course, the record's 1-4. So their offense has struggled, their defense has struggled, and under Chip Kelly in his first year in San Francisco. Of course, Gabbert has started most of the snaps this year in their offense. They averaged with him at quarterback, he's averaged about 5.9 yards attempt. I would expect that to increase with Kaepernick at the helm. He's got more arm strength than Gabbert does, so I could see them try to stretch the field a little more with Kaepernick at the helm. Their main weapon is Carlos Hyde, of course. He has 95 attempts with 377 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground. So he's the number one weapon and the guy that the Bills will have to lock down, similar to Curley last week. A guy that we are familiar with is their receiver, Jeremy Curley. He's been their go-to receiver. He's got 26 receptions, twice as many as anyone on the team, and he's averaging about 11.7 a reception and 2 touchdowns. And we'll get into later where exactly they like to target him. Again, that may change a little bit just because Gabbert's not playing anymore, but I do expect them to target him in certain areas of the field in Chip Kelly's offense. Very similar if you look at Chip Kelly when he was with the Eagles. They used Jordan Matthews in the same way. All right. So again, Carlos Hyde's their main guy. He's currently ranked as the 26th best running back according to Pro Football Focus, and he's very elusive. This year he looks a lot leaner, a lot quicker, which you should expect from running backs and offensive players in general on the offensive side of the ball for Chip Kelly. They like to run a lot of plays, give their offense a lot of opportunities, and you see he's got really good vision here. They run a little inside zone, and he bounces it. He sees number 59 going to fill the window, so he bounces it, but it doesn't end there. The tight end gets a piece of the inside linebacker, and Hyde just cuts right up inside it. Looks a lot quicker this year. Okay, so their main concept that they run, the whole offense is based on the zone read, and it's a tough play to defend, especially once you now inject Kaepernick into the lineup. If you look at the chart to the bottom of the screen, you can see that's the rushing distribution chart based on gaps, and so far Carlos seems to be getting most of his yards to the right side of the offensive line, specifically the A gap, so just the gap to the right of the center. He has 21 attempts there for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, and most of his touchdowns are off to the right-hand side as well. For the year, he's averaging about 4 a carry, and he's forced 14 missed tackles, which is up there in the league. It's I believe top 5, maybe I think 4th overall when the ball is in his hands in the rush game. So the zone read, if you're not familiar with it, it's pretty easy. What the offense tends to do is they don't block, and to the left of the screen, they don't block the end man line of scrimmage. And what that does is it injects another offensive lineman into the run blocking. So you're leaving one man free, but you're gaining that extra blocker play side. So the quarterback's taking the snap and is immediately putting his eyes on the end man on the line of scrimmage, and that guy is number 98. It's similar to an option. So if that guy crashes, if the end man crashes, then that quarterback's going to keep it. But here you see him show his numbers and hesitate. And so Gabbert gives. to Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde throws a nice little stiff arm to Hitchens and gets up the middle for a good gain. I mean, you guys should be familiar with, as Bills fans, Tyrod Taylor runs it a lot with McCoy, and some of McCoy's best years were under Chip Kelly in this offense. So you can imagine Carlos Hyde's the feature back for them. They also run it from different looks. Here's a split back look, same play, zone read. Gabbert actually is the second leading rusher on the team with 39 attempts, 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. Teams will run this split backfield because the inside linebackers and outside linebackers are reading the lineman, specific lineman, to the running back, and this kind of just crosses up their reads and throws false reads at the inside linebackers. And you'll see the end man on line of scrimmage to the right on the screen crashes hard on Carlos Hyde. So Gabbert keeps it, and he has a blocker in front of him. Really good game. First down. Against Arizona, the Niners used it out of the pistol. Now it's a slightly different landmark for the running back, so he's aiming for a different spot. But this pistol was created for Colin Kaepernick at Nevada. The Niners brought it, into the NFL early on in Kaepernick's career because it's quite effective. They used it a little differently against Arizona. They used the pistol because of the fast flow linebackers inside, and you'll see that number 51, a guy we're familiar with and we took advantage of, Kevin Minter. The zone read's all about assignment football, and you'll see the number 44, Golden. He crashes on the running back as he's supposed to. Kevin Minter needs to stay over the top to take the quarterback. He doesn't. Of course, fast flow, like they did against us. They bit hard on that inside zone, undisciplined, and it leaves a rushing lane for Gabbert. Luckily enough, the safety DJ Swearinger is there to limit this play, but the Bills, and I don't expect them to, but if Preston Brown and Zach Brown are undisciplined, Colin Kaepernick could take it to the house. He's 10 times the athlete that Blaine Gabbert is. So this time, it's just a give. Again, out of the pistol, zone read. They even have, an extra man in the box, Tony Jefferson off to the right-hand side. And you see the give still gains a decent amount of yardage. And the jump cut right here at the end of this run is pretty special. Breaks the tackle here, plants his right foot, and gets back inside for a couple extra yards. Again, I said it earlier, he's caused 14 missed tackles. And you'll see different looks. I mean, we ran the option pretty much once or twice a week from the beginning of the year. Well, they're no different. Again, it's taking advantage of that end man in line of scrimmage. There's not he can't make the right decision. As soon as he crashes on the quarterback, you'll see Gabbert step and pitch. Assignment football. Step and pitch. Now look at the move he puts on Sean Lee. Very good tackler. Telling you, Carlos Hyde looks like a different man this year. He's not just a big bruising back like he was coming out of Ohio State. He's much more elusive and quicker this year. So how do you stop it? Well, it's assignment football. All right, so that end man in line of scrimmage is fine. Let him take the inside zone. Let him take Carlos Hyde on this play. But you'll see number 50, Sean Lee, has to come up over the top and take the quarterback. And it helps here to have, you'll see where the camera is, the spider cam. The defensive tackle's in a 3 technique outside the left guard. That makes Joe Staley, the left tackle, have to help and combo block with the left guard. By the time he realizes he needs to pick up that inside backer, it's too late. Sean Lee's over the top. He's making the play on Gabbert. So defensive alignment's going to be a big thing this week, and having Kyle Williams in there at the 3 tech sometimes, and Corbin Bryant, and hopefully Marcel Darius. Hopefully that'll shut this zone read down. So here's another play where they stop it, and it's just a good assignment football by Sean Lee. Defensive end crashes hard. Sean Lee stays over the top. Staley can't pick him up, and Joe Staley is no slouch at left tackle. So you can see how, if you're a disciplined linebacker and disciplined in your reads, You should be able to shut down the zone read. So here they run play action off of the pistol, and it's just this play is thrown to the to the numbers outside. But look at what the play action does from the pistol to the inside linebackers. It takes them out of position. Now, our linebackers aren't as aggressive as Arizona's, and that's kind of Arizona's MO, our aggressive defense, fast flow, downhill. So I don't expect our linebackers to bite that hard on it. But if they get that run game going, whether it be the zone read or just inside zone period, you can see what it'll do to the linebacking core. Now here's the tight camera angle. It just kind of shows you it's a little different look from the pistol. You know, if the running back was just in a normal alignment out of shotgun to the left or the right of the quarterback, you're not going to get this type of, bite from the linebackers. A really good throw in a tight window there by Gabbert. So their main target is Jeremy Curley. He's got 45 targets this year, 26 receptions, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. Covered that earlier. But there are specific areas they like to hit him in the passing game. And you'll see here the Cowboys blow coverage. This looks just like normal zone here, or zone blitz. But the corner to the bottom of the screen chases the crossing route rather than passing him on to the linebacker. So you see they have 2 guys covering 1 tight end. And that leaves Curley wide open right behind the second level. And he gets into the end zone. So I was talking earlier about where they like to target Jeremy Curley. 90% of his snaps are from the slot position. And when he's in the slot, he's the #1 most targeted player at 29.2%. And you'll see him there for most of the day, which is, another reason why the Bills brought him in. He's a good slot receiver, and they probably wish they had him now with Salas down, because he is a really good slot receiver. You'll see him tight coverage. The defensive back in the middle of the screen is in a good trail technique. Gabbert stands in the pocket and delivers a really accurate ball here. It's a good throw. So you'll see here they like to target Jeremy Curley in certain areas of the field. If you look at this reception chart from Pro Football Focus, most of his targets are to the middle of the field. Outside the numbers to the right and left, he's only got 10 targets. But to the middle, it's 25. Specifically from 0 to 19 yards, they targeted him 22 times so far this year. And they like to work the middle of the field. That's the typical MO of Chip Kelly's offense. Like I said, Jordan Matthews with the Eagles was that guy, and he always lined up in the slot, and they always targeted him, in the middle of the field. So here are a couple middle of the field throws to Jeremy Curley. Just nice crossing routes. They run a lot of option routes with him. This is another really good throw. He's got to step on the DB, but it's a tight window, and Gabbert leads him in there. One of the things that worries me this week about the Bills defense is the San Francisco's 49ers no huddle check with me system. They're one of the fastest paced teams in the NFL, if not the fastest. And I'll show you that right here. Go to Football Outsiders and you look at their offensive pace statistics. They are #1 in seconds per play. So they run a play basically every 24.14 seconds. That's #1 in the league. So they're the fastest paced offense in the league. That worries me from a defensive standpoint, because our defense is an attack type defense. They expend a lot of energy, and we're not going to be able to sub. Our best player right now, arguably, is Lorenzo Alexander, who's 33 years old. I mean, when you have guys like that, or even Marcel Darius, if he plays, he's not going to be able to be taken off the field. And you'll see here they run no huddle, but they also do a check with me. So you'll see him fake the snap there, then look to the sideline. It's very similar to a college scheme where the coach is now giving that quarterback a different play based on what the coordinator or coach sees on the sideline. And they'll run a little corner route to the tight end here. So based on what the coordinator or coaches see, they're going to call a different play. He gets the matchup versus a linebacker, and Gabbert throws a nice ball here to the tight end, gets him into the red zone. So here's another no huddle check with me play. They check to a run based on what they see in defense, and they run inside zone. So the defense is going to have to be conditioned, going to have to be lined up. The looks on defense aren't going to be exotic, because of the pace of the offense. They cannot be complicated. They have to play simple and just smart assignment football. So Chip Kelly's offense is quite simple. It's actually pretty easy to scout. They run a lot of simple concepts. Here's a snag concept, and they'll run these concepts from several different looks. So you'll see the eye candy here by motioning the running back. But what ends up happening, and the key to this play is having 3 receivers to one side. So you'll see a number 1 receiver run a little snag route. Right there, he sits. You see number 2 receiver run a corner. And then you'll see the 3rd receiver come in, who is the running back here, and run a little swing route to the flats. It's a snag concept. It's actually a bad throw here, and goes incomplete because the snag concept is it's a tough concept to run versus man coverage. But I just want to show you a couple different ways they run the very same concept. So here it's the same concept, but it's a different look. They'll motion Torrey Smith across the formation. But the key to this is they're getting that 3 receivers to one side. They have a tight end here. They have a receiver that motioned across, and then the running back. So they can still run that snag concept. And you'll see that Torrey Smith sits with the snag. You'll see the tight end go to the corner there. But Gabbert misses it. Now what happened here on defense is you'll see the corner, instead of dropping to his zone, he jumps the snag route, as does the hook to curl linebacker near the tight end there. Those guys both jumped that snag route. That's why that tight end's left wide open. But Gabbert completely misses it here. So you can see why they made a change at quarterback. He left a lot of plays on the field this year. Here's the same play from the tight camera angle. See, it's just a bad throw. Guy's wide open. Made a good read, but now you have to execute the pass. So here's another simple concept, one that we also run, and everyone across the league runs. It's a spacing concept. It's very good versus zone. How much zone we play this week will determine how well this play works. And I expect us to play a little more zone than we normally do, just because of Kaepernick is playing quarterback. And you'll see all the receivers find the window and sit down, running curls, and the tight end to the top of the screen sits right near the 50, and Gabbert hits him. This is a really good concept versus cover 3. That's what the Cowboys are in. Very easy to find those windows in this zone. Another concept that worries me this week are RPOs. Now, we saw a little bit with Gabbert, but I do expect to see more with Kaepernick because of his abilities. RPO, if you don't know what that is, it's a run-pass option. Basically, it's a run play with a pass built into it. RPO concepts are really good because they attack zones really well. They're not so good against man, but a team like the Cowboys, who are a base cover 2 team, they worked out really well. You want to try to put a defender, a linebacker in conflict. A guy that has run responsibilities, you want to make him think run or pass and just do the opposite. So it's very similar to an option. And you'll see it here. They attack the hook to curl zone. Looks like they're trying to read number 56, the inside linebacker. And you'll see the offensive lineman all block to the right. Running back's carrying out his run. And Gabbert's just reading number 56. 56 takes his 2-pointer steps to his left to read the play, but then realizes it's a pass. So he adjusts and he's looking for the receiver that's going to come through his area. He's totally confused though, and that's what RPOs do. it makes that defender wrong every single time. Because if that defender rushes up and tries to stop the run, of course you're going to have a receiver sitting right behind him in the zone catching the ball, similar to that. Now, if he had just dropped to his zone, then it just opens run lanes for the running back. And you can see, actually, even on this play, with a good cut block there by the left guard, there's actually a lane. So it puts that defender in a bind, and it's a very good concept. And I would expect the 49ers to run some of that with Kaepernick. And this team's offense, as I mentioned earlier, isn't that good. And I'll show you some statistics here from Pro Football Focus. We'll look at their offensive line. It's not one of the better pass blocking offensive lines. All right, so if you look at this, I sorted it based on total pressures allowed. They've allowed 52 total pressures, 6 sacks, 4 QB hits, and 42 hurries allowed. That's a 77.1 pass blocking efficiency, and it's one of the worst in the league. You can see here. So their offensive line can be attacked, and we have the horse, to do it. Jerry Hughes, I'd expect to have his fair share of pressures this week. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get, 4 or 5 pressures alone. So their offensive line is part of their weakness. It used to be a strength, but it isn't anymore. And you'll see here, they bring the blitz. Arizona brings a blitz, and they get Gabbert. So the big key on defense this week with Kaepernick at quarterback, obviously stop the zone read with him and Carlos Hyde. But on passing plays, with as much man coverage as we play, the pass rushers have to stay in their lanes. And this is something Arizona didn't do well versus Buffalo, and Tyrod made them pay. And they had a lot of lapses in that department when they played the 49ers. And you see here, they only rushed 4. But to the left of the screen, you see Chandler Jones take his rush several yards past Gabbert, and that just leaves an open void for Gabbert to, pull the ball down and get out the back door. Now, the other outside player, number 57 to the right of the screen, does a good job. Look at him. He doesn't go any deeper than the quarterback. That's what you want to do. Yeah, there's, a hole for Gabbert to run through there, but if you see that the defensive tackle has outside leverage, so that prevents Gabbert from stepping up and going to the right. But Chandler Jones was undisciplined here, and it's something that he did against the Bills. Chandler Jones was so worried about getting his sack or pressure here that he was undisciplined and rushed right past Gabbert, and that opened the lane for Gabbert. And you'll see he's got some open real estate ahead of him. That's something that if the Bills do this week, if they're undisciplined in their pass rush lanes, Colin Kaepernick could take it to the house. So that wraps up the defensive scouting report on the San Francisco's offense. Again, it's a zone read based offense. Everything is run off of the zone read and play action. And you can expect to see Kaepernick get his fair share of called rushes. And they're gonna try to feature Carlos Hyde. So just like last week, the Bills need to limit Carlos Hyde in the run game, because everything is run off of that and that guy. And he does look a lot better this year. He's gotten his touches, gotten his touchdowns. So the other thing is stay in your rush lanes. I mean, it's quite simple. Assignment football, stay in your rush lanes and discipline. And the Bills have the upper hand here. When it comes to our defense versus their offense. They're not that explosive. They're going to try to get the big plays with their zone reads and, with Colin Kaepernick extended play. So stay tuned for the scouting report on the other side of the ball on the next day or two.